Yeah, the tragic story of the MonteVideo Maru, Dave, actually started down in New Guinea, in Rabaul. The Japanese had invaded New Guinea and captured Rabaul, and they laded over 1,000 prisoners, some 800 military and some over 400 civilians onto this Japanese freighter called the MonteVideo Maru.
Okay.
And it set sail for Hainan, an island off the coast of China, and the ship sailed up the Pacific Ocean off the east coast of the Philippine Islands, up to the top of the Philippines and around the top of Luzon, the island of Philippines, through the Babuyan Channel, which took the ship through into the South China Sea. As they came through the Babuyan Channel, an American submarine, the Sturgen, spotted the ship coming out of the channel and gave chase. However, the MonteVideo Maru was doing some 17 knots, and the Sturgeon was unable to catch up with it. And then for some reason, the ship slowed down to 12 knots out here, which allowed the Sturgeon to catch up and get into position. And on the 1st of July, this was, 1942, the Sturgeon fired 4 torpedoes at the ship at about 2:27 in the morning, a.m. in the morning.
Okay.
And probably at least two torpedoes struck the ship and would have caused considerable damage, because it's reported the MonteVideo sank within 6 minutes. Yeah, the blast from the torpedoes, Dave, could have caused a lot of damage to the ship, blowing the hatches off, and might have broken the ship up quite badly even before it sank far. And this may have allowed a number of the captives in the holds to escape. As I understand, there was survivors picked up. Okay. But at the same time, as the ship sank through the depths, the air trapped inside the ship would have expanded as well, blasting off the hatch covers, punching open portholes and that. And of course, she went a long way. That's quite a few kilometres going at depth, and no doubt by the time it struck the bottom.
So Keith, at that depth, you think there'd be any sort of human remains that that the ROVs might be able to pick up?
Yeah, it's hard to say, Dave. You know, from previous examples of deep water shipwrecks like the Titanic, a lot of people are familiar with, and more recently the Sydney and some of the other ships, no remains have actually been found, but certainly things like boots and shoes, leather belts, dog tags, a lot of personal effects certainly would be found scattered around, because that does tend to remain. There could also be possibilities of some bones and that being buried in the silt, but as far as remains of humans as such, like skeletons and that, no, that in deep water is such that it's very unusual to find such remains. After a number of years, all you'd really find is just a mound there. You wouldn't find a shipwreck as like you might see in the movies, a whole ship sitting down there. I mean, even after this time, since 1942, well, as people have seen on television, the Titanic and some of those other documentaries, they can certainly see how a ship disintegrates over a period of time. Yeah, what do you think, Dave? We have a position of where the ship is indicated to have sunk from the American submarine, but what do you think the chances are that you would actually find the wreck at that position?
Yeah, spot X marks the spot.
Yeah, from previous experience.
Yeah, I would, you know, the boat was travelling at over 12 knots, and so the torpedoes hit it, but the boat keeps that momentum going, and so as she's going, she's starting to sink, which is obviously slow it down. But it would probably travel 3 or 4, maybe even 5, probably 3 or 4 kilometres in that direction before it finally hit the bottom.
Yeah, once you got down there, Dave, let's say they did find that wreck of the MonteVideo Maru. Of course, it's at that depth, it's going to be very dark. I mean, it's going to be black. No sunlight would ever penetrate to that depth. So to explore the wreck, you'd need to take down very powerful lighting, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think it's going to be midnight, that's for sure, and probably the first light to ever shine on the wreck in all those years is going to be from the first ROV they actually put down with its camera and small lighting, so they'll only get a small picture of what they're seeing. And as you know, with some of the things they've done on the Titanic, they've taken down a huge array of lights to see. So
yeah, I think the other possibility is, of course, once again, depending on finances and that, is a submersible. You could take a submersible down, like a submarine, with, say, these research ones like they've used on the Titanic, take about 3 people. You get down there, they're carrying powerful lights, and then to explore the ship, if the ship was sitting there, the wreck, and you wanted to explore inside it, you would fly. They have on the submersible a small miniature ROV, remote operated vehicle, like a little robot that would be flown out from the submersible. And they did the similar thing with the Titanic, where it could get inside without any danger to the submersible crew and do some exploration or investigation.